There was a teacher, let's call him James. He worked with small children. It was not primary school directly, but I don't know, other, all countries have their own school system anyway. He was working with around 8 to 10-year-olds. There was this 10-year-old girl who was always screaming, crying, acting wild. And the teacher called the parents to school to talk to them to find out why their daughter was acting out like that. Both the parents kept saying we have no idea why she's acting out like that. Well, the teacher one day was called to the office by the principal. And the principal asked them, James, did you talk to the parents of this 10-year-old who's acting out all the time? James said, yeah. What did they tell you? They just couldn't understand why their daughters act out like that. The principal asked them, do you believe them? Well, James, being a bit naive, thought, yeah, why not? Those are their parents. The principal told him, James, they are lying to you. James was a bit confused. Then the principal told him, James, how come this girl, she's been with them, she was a little baby. She's that baby grew up in their home. That baby is now a 10-year-old girl. For the past decade, she's been in their home. She's been dependent on them for everything. How the heck can she end up acting like this? And they have no clue whatsoever what goes on. Come on now, James. Don't tell me you fall for this. You're a grown man. I know you don't want to think evil of other people. I don't even want you to be uh, suspicious all the time and all of that. No. But please, James, look at the bigger picture. Just use your common sense here. What they're saying is utter bullshit. The more James thought about it, James realized that the principal was telling the truth. And long story short, James found out that the girl was being sexually molested by a relative. But because the parents had marital problems, they, but they didn't want to divorce because they enjoyed the praise from the community. And because of their marital problems, they couldn't bond well with their daughter, so they had less empathy towards their daughter. So actually, they were horrible people. They didn't want to face the fact that one of their own relatives was molesting their daughter. They didn't want this drama to come out. So to preserve their reputation, they just pretend like nothing was happening, while the little girl was being harmed. Now, this example is extreme. I know it. But such things happen out there, where people will pretend as if they have no clue what goes on or why something is happening, while they know very well why it's happening. For example, let's say someone turned out to be a drug addict. Now, the family members of the drug addict will say, wow, why is this guy onto drugs? Why is he wasting his life? To outsiders, they pretend like they're so shocked that their relatives waste their life like that. But let's use common sense here. Where did this drug addict grow up? Who shaped this drug addict emotionally, mentally? Isn't it the people around him? So if he ended up deformed, yes, of course, he himself plays a role in it as a grown individual now, but he has not been a grown individual all the time. There was time he couldn't think for himself. There was time he had no choice but to be pushed around by others. So as an adult, he has the ability to face himself and choose to be better, and he should do that. But you can't put it all on him as an adult now. How did he end up that way? So it's impossible for the relatives to act like they have no clue why he ended up that way. They know very well why he ended up that way, know very well where he was neglected, and know very well that it's their fault too for how he ended up that way. They are to blame too for how he ended up. But they don't want to admit this. They don't put it all on the victim who is now dysfunctional. Now the victim now has to admit he has been violated by his own community so that he can recover. That's on the victim now. Because if the victim doesn't admit this, he becomes a collaborator. And he shouldn't become a collaborator. What I'm putting out there is listen, when people are obviously lying to you, do not confront them about it. Let me repeat this. When people are obviously lying to you, do not confront them about it. Let me tell you why. It's quite simple. If someone is blatantly denying any responsibility concerning a bad outcome, it is because they already made up their minds that no matter what, they're going to escape. They've made up their mind that they're not interested in justice, safety, none of those things. The only thing on their mind is to escape. And they're desperate enough to keep acting as if they have no involvement in the bad outcome, even though common sense as well as proof shows they've been involved. Even if their involvement was a small one, they're still involved. Because here's the thing, the moment they admit their involvement, now they're also obliged to participate in a solution. And participating in a solution may be uncomfortable for them. It may cost them something. They just want to be left alone, but they just want to escape, be left alone, and continue like nothing happens. Everyone else has to take it. That's the narcissistic attitude a lot of people have. So the moment they insist in denying their culpability or their part in a bad outcome, again, their part doesn't have to be a big one, like the perpetrator or whatever. They can also be people who simply did not address the bad situation. Well, that's also on them because they didn't address the bad situation escalates. So that's also on them. I don't care whether you feel how guilty you feel about it. You should not let dangerous situations continue like that in your community. You shouldn't. Now, I don't want them to feel guilty all the time and mentally break down, no, but they should be convicted. Like, you know what? We participate in this bad situation, so now we need to participate in a solution. And we need to look at ourselves in the mirror and become safer and better human beings. Let's go for it. That's how it should be. But most people just want to escape. And let me tell you one thing. If someone is desperate enough to insist against the fact that they're fully innocent, that they have no role in a bad outcome, even when it's obvious that they do, such individual has become delusional. And delusional people are dangerous people. Why are they dangerous? Because they willingly go against fact and reality. They willingly deny or pretend as if the well-being of others don't matter. If you've been part of a bad situation, you don't have to go out there and air it all over the place and incriminate yourself. You don't have to do that. But at least towards yourself, admit you've been part of this. Take your accountability and credit for your part and change for the better. That's what you can do, that's what you should do. Of course, you have to be wise. You're not going to just tell everyone you've been involved because some people can use it against you. And what's the use of that? What I'm saying is towards yourself, you have to admit it, and at least in your actions and your attitude, you have to improve. That's realistic, that's sane, and that is safe. The moment someone insists against admitting their part of a bad situation, that means that they are willing to continue that same bad situation as long as they can get away with excuses. So that means that to them, the well-being of others doesn't exist. The well-being of others does not exist to these people. That means your well-being does not exist either. That means when the time comes, they will ignore your well-being just to get their escape. Their whole mind is focused on escaping. And if you're in the way of their escape, in their mind, they're justified to do anything to you just to get their escape, including murder. Now, I'm not saying that all of them will murder so quickly. A lot of them are very reluctant to do things like that. But the option of murder will come up to their mind at some point. When someone is obviously denying their role in a bad situation, while the proof is all over the place that they've been involved and that they've been neglectful and they could have done better, if they keep insisting, well, I don't owe for anything, I never asked for this. Well, listen, if you're driving down the road and there are other people driving, can you say, well, I never asked that their parents have children, so I'm not obliged to deal with these human beings. I just drive my car. I don't care what happens. Do that and see how long you will last on the road. You'll be arrested by the police and put in prison. If someone faints in public and you don't even want to call the ambulance, or you have a fully charged phone, you say, well, I don't know, I don't like to, I don't want to, whatever. Come with this free will bullshit, and you'll go to prison for neglect. You can even be arrested for things like that. Failure to provide aid. Strange when it comes to taxes and all of that. Nobody says we never ask for taxes. People just pay them because you know there's a consequence if they don't. But with other people, they always come with this I never asked for, or I don't want to, or they come with the excuse, well, I don't really have to. Listen, as a human being, you have natural obligations towards the community. And the community has natural obligations towards you. Simple as that. It's not just you owing the community owes you too. But a lot of people out there, they don't want any obligations, just want to have ease at all costs. And they also want to be praised for it like they're good people. Sorry, good people are people of good quality who deal with challenges in life and will look for solutions and were willing to admit when they were wrong or they even admit when they could have done better. And they're willing to be better. Those are good quality people. People just want to be left alone and will always explode anytime they have discomfort. I'm sorry, but that's low. That's a low life individual. And you have a lot of low life individuals who insist that they're good quality people. That alone shows you they're out of their mind. Listen, don't confront such people. I know that you're tempted to call them out and put them in their place. Listen, call them out, put them in their place, may give you short-term relief. But in the long run, those people now will see you as an obstacle. And once they see you as an obstacle, they're going to start thinking about how they can eliminate you as an obstacle. Don't trigger homicide against you. When people insist in denying their obvious role in a bad situation, just pretend as if you believe what they're saying and peacefully leave the conversation and disengage from such people. Simple as that. Do not further engage them, I'm telling you. Those are dangerous people, I'm telling you. If they can't come after you, if you confront them and they're upset with you, but for some reason they're too afraid or they don't have the ability to come after you, anyone else around them they're going to explode upon, including children. So don't trigger danger towards yourself and other people. When someone is denying and insisting on an innocence that doesn't exist, let them be with their delusion. If they insist on excuses, let them have their excuses. Don't fight their excuses. Just disengage and move on peacefully. I'm telling you. Well, that's it for now. Keep on with Christ and be at peace.